Hunter Shaw, and this is for the whiteboarding coding problem for 2.6 discussion. And I will be using one of the problems in our hacker rank. There's several to choose from, and I just think it's easier to whiteboard a problem from one of the problems that we already have. I have not done this one yet, but I have read up on it a little bit. Whatnot. I have also, because I do not have a whiteboard, I am quite literally in the jungle of Peru, so it's kind of not, can't really do that. Gonna have it's been raining all day, etc., so I'm just gonna try to get this done, make it fast. Let's begin. So, counting values basically is a hiker just counting the steps, where U is uphill. So U is going to be, and I don't really have a mouse, I'm using the trackpad, so we'll see how this goes. U is up, right? Okay. So it's going to just be like a +1 almost, right? Actually, we'll do it like this. We'll do positive, right? Plus 1, where D is downhill, right? And then this will be down. Let's see if I can do this. Down. Okay, we're getting there. And then this will be -1, where as they can see in the example, is they have steps, which is 8. So they took 8 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, all the way to 8. And then the path is represented as D, D, U, U, U. So up, down, down, down. And it could be a combination of whatever, but basically the hiker will go up or down, but they will always end at sea level, meaning sea level would be which is just 0. So whatever it does, so if the combination down down, that's -2, up is +2, which is 0. Now we're at +2 because we have 2, and then back to -2, which is 0. So any combinations of these up, down, 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 up, down, down, down is just going to equal 0 at the end. But the whole point is to calculate how many valleys. So when they went down and then went back up to 0, or if they went up and then went down back to 0, how many valleys are they going through? And so to calculate that, we need a couple of things. We need to know, one, the level, right? We need a level variable, which would be 0, right? And basically we would have to loop through the string of this right here, the string. We would have to loop through that, and the path, the steps, is 8, so we would loop through. So we would end up actually using a for loop, where I, which is to loop through it, 0, and then we would get the loop. We would do the steps, which is 8, or it could be anything. It could be 12, it could be 16, it doesn't matter. But in this scenario, in this example, it's 8. So where it would be less than the steps. And basically we would loop through that with the for loop, and so that would loop through all the way to 8, or how many steps we have, and it would loop through our string, which is the path. So we have a path variable, right? And that's going to be looped. And then for our final, we are missing one more variable because counting variables, it says return the number of variable values transversed, transversed, basically traveled or went up and down. So it was so example is 8. There's 8. They only did 1. Where, yeah, sea level right here. So they only did it once, as you can see. Yeah. Okay. So then we would need another variable, which would be setting valleys. We're just gonna call it v. V is to 0, right? Because we need to basically, as we're looping through this, we need to have an if statement where we loop through the path, right? The path, and then the path being the string, right? The path being the u d d so on and so forth. We would loop through the index of each one of these. So you can do that by simply just throwing in, making this an array. This has an index position, right? So this started at 0. So path I, which is 0, and it's going to do the for loop all the way to 8 or whatever it may be, whatever steps may be. In this scenario, it is 8. So it's going to loop through that. And then we're going to loop through basically the whole entire string, which is the 8 characters, right? And we would need to know, though, using the operators, we need to know when it hits a U and when it hits basically a D, when it goes up or down, right? +1, -1, right? And then from there, we would just do the level variable, right? So we would have a path. This would be let's see, if, right? If path 0, right? If path u, like, so this is the for loop. It's gonna go through all the way until 0 is less than is 0 less than 8? Yes. Is 1 less than 8? Yes. Is 8 less than 8? No. So it would stop. It would break. It would stop the for loop. So we're just going to do an if statement within the for loop, right? So this whole section here. And we're just going to do a level plus. So if path 0, which is u, equals u, then 1 point to the variable level right here. So this would be +1. So now it would not be 0, it would be 1. And then else, because what about if it's a D? Else, we would do level, right? We don't have to write all this, because if it's not U, it's something else, right? There's only a U and a D. If there's 3 things, then we would kind of have to expand on this idea, but because it's just 2 characters, we could just do that. And so else, the level would then go to negative, right? -1. So down, up, right? And so as this for loop is looping through all the way until it hits 8, right? Because once it hits 8, 8 is not less than 8. It would not work. It would get out basically. Oh, and I'm sorry. Also, this for loop, as you know, it's kind of a thing here. It's a for loop, so you know, I plus plus, right? So yeah, it's just gonna loop through this, and basically, if it's u plus one, if it's a d, if it's not u, it's minus one. And so as this loops, it's just gonna go up, down, 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 up. It's just gonna fluctuate like that, right? And so if they if they were into a valley and they got out of the valley, like they went to sea level, right? This this character right here, valleys, right? We would add. We would need to do an actual another. We'd do another if statement down here, because honestly, we're doing nothing with the valleys right now. So in this for loop, we would have to do another if statement, because if the level, right? If level, because we need to know when the hiker is going, is getting back to sea level right here, right? And then if they get back to sea level, so if they started down down and then they went up up, now they're at sea level, we're gonna add one to to um to the valley. But if they went up up and then down down, they didn't go through a valley, they went up. So it's only when they go down down and then go up. So if level, right, equals 0, right, because it's going to go going to go 1 1 0 -1 -2 -1 0, right? It's just going to go fluctuate like that through the loop. And so and oh, really bad and signs, I like that. And the path, right, and the path ended, right, ended on the path ended on a u and up, because if it was negative, and then once it hits a 0 and it was a u, which meant it was -1 and then it went back to 0, that means they went back up to sea level. That means they went into a valley and then they got out of it. We're going to do valleys, which is v, right up there, plus 1, because that's how many valleys. And then we just return, because it says return the number of valleys, right? Return valleys, just like that. And yeah, this pretty much explains it more or less. Hope that made sense. They do have a diagram here, I think. Let's see, right here, yeah, right here. So it'd be like doot 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 doot. So right here is sea level, and so the whole point of this function is to know when the hiker was down here and went down and then went back up. 1 2 3, right? It never counts if it's up down, because that's a mountain, that's not a valley, right? So you know, it would come up like this, and then maybe your sea level. Oh, I'm sorry, you wouldn't be sea level. It'd be like that, right? See, he went back up. So he went to sea level, and then he went back up. Kind of like that, right? And so if in this example, he went into a valley, got back up to sea level, and went into the valley. So v right here would actually be 2. Well, that's horrible. Valleys would be 2 that he went into, because this right here, this is a valley, this is a valley, this is not a valley, that's a mountain, That's a mountain. Hopefully that made sense. I'm Hunter Shaw, and that is my problem-solving whiteboard sketch. Hope y'all enjoyed.